Welcome to the next episode of Long Island TikTok, and we're here with Suha Syed. How did you get started on TikTok? Basic question.
Yeah, right? I feel like this is such a common story where people talk about March 2020, and I think that conjures up a lot of like scary, uncertain images for a lot of people, including myself. But because of the time off and because of the insurgence of like online apps being so popular, people had so much free time. I told myself, so I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. January 2020, myself, I was like, the app started to gain traction earlier in 2020, before any of the lockdown stuff started happening. But my friend was like, "Oh, you should do it. You have like a knack for that sort of thing." And I was like, "No, I don't know how to edit. I'm not doing it." And here I am. So, March 2020, I had a lot of free time on my hands, just like I feel like everybody else, and I picked up the app and I started to play around with different like effects, and it sort of fell into place as things started getting easier with lockdown and like COVID related protocols. My following started increasing too, so
Oh,
I
that's
like to think of the
interesting.
plateau kind of working in my favor that way.
So, do you think as life, quote unquote, got back to normal,
Yeah,
that's when your following started to follow you outside of lockdown?
definitely, yeah. Because I had more opportunities to go out and visit like small businesses and just do things that weren't really commonplace during like our COVID like lockdown era.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you started during the lockdown, were you like, did it start off more kind of like as a hobby and are you still seeing it that way now? Or are you kind of seeing it like as something to help you in your career path?
That at the beginning it was just that. It was just a hobby. It was just like, I'll do a little video here and there. But now I really look at content creation as a potential career option or something that could really supplement my professional life.
So, talk about your professional life a little bit. Are you in college right now?
Yeah, so I'm in college right now. I'm finishing up my senior year at SUNY Westbury. I'm majoring in, thank you
Congratulations.
so much. I'm majoring in English with a specialization in world literature and a minor in, my college calls it PEL, but it's politics, economics, and law. So yeah, a little bit of a dual degree action situation there. But as for work right now, I used to do a lot of childcare related work. But for the time being, I'm just focusing on content creation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you think with what you're majoring in currently, has that guided you with your content creation at all?
I would say so. For being an English major, I would say, and being somebody who's always been kind of enamored by language and like public speaking, which people find to be like ludicrous because it's like, why would you enjoy public speaking? But I love it. Um, it's definitely helped me a lot with things that I wouldn't expect, like even doing voiceovers for videos or like writing scripts or meeting people and just like talking to small business owners. It helps me be more, I guess, articulate and well spoken. And it's given me tools to kind of like carry me throughout that content creation journey. And with my multicultural literature focus in books and reading and stuff, I get to visit different types of cultures on text when I'm assigned those readings, but then going to small businesses on the island that represent cultures outside of my own is really exciting because I get to bring those to life in a different way.
How often do you try to post? And also, going off of that, did you see like, did you have to increase the amount of time once you hit like a certain point? Like, you were
Right.
like, okay,
Yeah.
now I have to really ramp up
Yeah.
the content creation?
I would say so at this point I feel like I'm at a steady like 2 or 3 times a day. Although I did notice that my views like tanked if I kept posting frequently. So right now I'm at once every like 2 days or so. But
That's
once
really
the
interesting.
yeah, the algorithm is really strange. Like it's something that can like I'll have a video that I posted a year or two ago that's getting traction. Meanwhile, the stuff that I'm posting now is like not seeing the light of day. And it's like part of me wishes I could control which videos, like do well, especially when I post anything that's related to like a small business. I really want those to do like exponentially well just because people want like information on like what places to go or what places to support. Um But I would say at the beginning, I would post probably like once a day, or I would be really consistent with my must visit places series. Now since I've like ventured into different niches, um, it's hard for me to kind of gauge like which side of TikTok I want to like lean more into. But I would say like once a day now. Yeah.
So that's actually something that we wanted to talk about
Yeah.
with you. We feel like you post such a variety of content, and has it become clear to you what your niche is? Because
Yeah.
you're really into like concerts and going to experience what it's like being a fan, and then you also do that like must visit places.
Yeah.
And then you also talk about like the difference between religion and culture.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So as someone who started off on TikTok as I guess a niched like must visit places person, because that was my first viral video, was that I went to the Rocks at Fort Totten in Queens, and I was like I checked my notifications and it was just like this exciting, oh my god, angels singing moment. And those videos did really, really well. But I feel like it was at the time I was still, like a student, and I think I was working like a tutoring job, and I didn't really have the funds to continue going to places at the frequency that the comments or like that the analytics kind of demanded, or urged for rather. So I leaned into different things, and this was one thing I thought to myself as well. Like there's so many people that I follow that have just like one niche. It's either like book talk, fashion talk. A couple people that I follow only make like Taylor Swift related content. So for me, it was like hard to gauge what side to lean into, but I would say being a more varied content creator has its benefits as well, because I get to connect with more people in different like niches and different sides of that, because there's so much that the app offers. Like there's like you can just scroll and see like a day in the life of a 16-year-old living in like Oregon, or like a small business owner or professional athlete, or so I wanted to my thoughts about being just like a small business like Long Island / New York City food blogger were there. But I think if I can find success in more varied niches, then I would rather go that route.
Are you finding that TikTok is helping you learn about other, cultures and religions?
For sure. And it helps me connect with people who are perhaps more educated on the topic and can create things that are probably well suited for maybe their backgrounds, but it definitely helps me like learn about different cultures, and it's a way to spread information about like my culture or where I come from, or even though that kind of sometimes opens up the floodgates to people who are even part of the culture and have like I don't know like whataboutism disease. but like but yeah, it's a great, despite like some of the people that you run into online, what happens with everything, it's a great way to kind of set the record straight for a lot of things that perhaps people just don't understand.
I was gonna say that actually. I feel like your approach to those videos, you're very vocal on saying this is the difference between my culture and my religion. And here is how these like the people in my religion want to be perceived, and like this is what you should not be saying about me.
Don't go believing everything you see on the internet. This topic really, grinds my gears, because there's so many people that don't understand the difference between religion and culture. They'll go and make videos and so-called educate a bunch of people who don't know any better.
Talk a little bit about your music fandom.
A great question. So I've been like part of like fandom since I was very young. Like just watching like Disney Channel and growing up with like the classic Disney and Nick stars. But I feel like we really did grow up in the golden era of Disney.
It was perfection.
And Nick, like Miley Cyrus, and like even before like Hannah Montana, but then Selena Gomez in Wizards, and even the movies like she did before. I still remember when High School Musical came out. Like that was
Zac Efron has a key to my heart.
Iconic. And even the Disney
so does
shows,
Miley.
Exactly. Oh my god. Ashley Tisdale, like I see her TikToks from time to time, and I'm like, she's a mother now, but she's been like a mother to so many people way before, like, you know?
It's so weird to see though, like kind of celebrities like grow up, like when we are used to seeing them. Like I still see Ashley Tisdale as like in High School Musical, her role in High School Musical, and
exactly.
she's definitely done way more stuff now, and like you said, is a mother now. So
it's interesting because you feel like you grew up with them in
Yeah,
a sense.
for sure.
And
And
then it
there's
makes you feel
definitely
old.
like
It makes you feel old.
100%. And even like seeing stars that like just never stopped working, like Selena Gomez and Miranda Cosgrove, for example.
Yeah.
I remember seeing her in Drake and Josh when she was like the annoying little sister.
Yeah.
And I look back on that, I'm like, oh my God, she was so young. And she's still doing the damn thing, you know?
Yeah.
So it's amazing. But with music specifically, I feel like I'm a really big music fan. I have a very like varied taste. I love Taylor Swift, of course. I love like big name and big production groups and artists, but I also really love like the indie scene. And it kind of like goes with like the passion for like small business and like supporting small artists is great because there's definitely an underground aspect to it. It's kind of like this is my secret and only like a couple thousand people know about this
I feel like
person.
a lot of people who are into indie music will say that. It's like, this is my thing. I'm holding on to it. And then once they actually get big, they're like,
I know. That's really funny. I know a lot of people who felt that way about like artists now that are just like these huge names, like Conan Gray. I was a fan of when he was on YouTube.
Yeah.
So like way before like any of like the billions of streams and like, you know,
my sister says that about Billie Eilish.
Yes,
she was a super fan from the very first song that she had, and then obviously now she's like such a big star. But she was like, I don't remember when she came out with her first song.
And even with Taylor, like being a fan in 2008, like her career has been very like atmospheric type of success like from the beginning, but she's still like broken so many records and had like so much success. But I remember when I was a fan of her when it wasn't cool. It wasn't like a cool or fun thing to be a fan of Taylor Swift. And even people now have like just ludicrous opinions about everything. But I became a fan when like You Belong With Me, Fearless, like that era. And being a part of someone's like professional career and journey from I would say like the beginning to now and being really like proxy to a lot of like misogyny and sexism and just a lot of discrimination that she's faced as an artist and as a person. It kind of makes you feel like you go through it as well, like by a very large extension. But it's interesting to like navigate between fan culture and parasocial relationships and nostalgia and like growing up with artists that perhaps grew up to not be the best people or, you know, people that are not doing entertainment at all. Like, I went down a Malcolm in the Middle rabbit hole, as one does. As one does. I'm reading Bryan Cranston's autobiography. Oh, yes. It's so good. It's really good. And he talks about how like there were in an interview on Conan, he was talking about how he was some of the stars on that show that played his kids are like the same age as he was when he first started playing their dad. And they have kids of their own. Some of them are went a complete 180 from the entertainment industry and have like a quote unquote regular lives, and it's really interesting to see.
And I really think social media, particularly TikTok, really has changed like the fandom culture. Like 100%. Like seeing I'm on Swift Talk and just seeing the amount of content and how it's changed. Like a Taylor Swift concert's not just a concert anymore. Like the Eras tour,
stream it live on TikTok.
They stream it live, and just like the amount of preparation, like now the friendship bracelet things. Like I feel like I don't know if that would have been a thing if social media wasn't as big. And do you see that change? Like
100%. I see more of like a call to cultivate like a larger community that exists outside of like oneself.
Hi, I'm Rachel Weisz and I'm a reporter at Newsday. One Swiftie I spoke to, Caitlin Tamino, found this iconic gold fringe dress from Fashion Nova. It was very speak now. She'll be wearing it to MetLife.
Particularly like there's examples of fans being involved in like an artist's career. Like I remember, I think in 2020, viral TikTok dance was made by a user, and I think Doja Cat used that choreography in like one of her music videos. And with Taylor, like there was a user that made a dance, the visual dance,
I do.
and she uses it in her tour choreography now, and it's
Does she really?
yeah,
That's
it's
so cool.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
so cool to be like, oh my god, I saw that on Swift Talk, or even like just hacks that people post, like, oh, I go to a lot of concerts, here's what you should and shouldn't do. A video that I saw of someone like buying like a clear bag. I was like, I never even thought of that, but I, went on Amazon, I got a clear bag, and it just goes to show maybe I'm easily influenced.
You recently had a video go viral with Gordon Ramsay.
Oh my god, yeah.
That goes into what you were just mentioning with Priscilla about the different clips.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So he's my friend now. We're besties. I mean, this was at Taylor's show at MetLife. And so my friend is amazing. Shout out Natasha. She's like the best at securing tickets for things. So she secured floor tickets for us. And this was like, it was a bit of a splurge, but it was a very long time coming. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. So the way that Taylor's like stage is kind of formed is like she has like a little catwalk and then the stage itself. Plus they're surrounding like I guess quote unquote GA section, but it's seated. And then on the outskirts of that are VIP tents. And so I come with like a lot of like stickers and like bracelets and little freebies that I like to just kind of like hand out to fans, and you get to meet people and like see like different outfits, and it's really fun. So as we were kind of making our rounds, I believe this was this was after one of the openers, but before another one came on. So Owen had just performed, and this was like the interim between after he performed and before Phoebe Bridgers went on. And it was like just like a little bit of a lull, a little bit of like a slow period where we got to just walk around and like get drinks and meet people. And as we're walking, my friend's like, Gordon Ramsay's right there. I'm like, what? She's like, just turn around, don't make it obvious. So of course I make it obvious. And I just give her my phone, and I'm just like, I asked her, like, do you think he'll pick a bracelet for me? Like, she's like, oh yeah, I don't know. Like, let's just try it out and see. So I give her my phone. And she's the best. Like, she always takes like my outfit pictures, and like I'm like, just film me for a second. She's like, hey, I got it. Friend. Exactly. So shout out to that friend. If you're the friend that helps the content creator, like you are an ace for sure. But I give her my phone. I'm just like, okay, just watch this. So I go up to the security guard and I take off the bracelet. I'm like, do you think? And the security at MetLife, so nice. And I've heard stories of security not being the nicest, but MetLife security, shout out. I'm like, can I give this bracelet to him, or do you think I could say hi? And security guard very nicely told me, he's like, not at this moment. But at that moment where he said no, Gordon saw me and he came up to me. He's just like, hello, how are you? And I took his hand, and the interaction was just like, he knew what to do. And I didn't think he would know what, like, the friendship bracelet protocol was, but he, it was a very simple, like, and I shook his hand twice. Exactly. Very short interaction, but I think I definitely opened up the floodgates, because there were like hordes of people behind me that were lining up with bracelets to give to him, and he had to move out of the tent. So I'm sorry, Gordon. But
that's an iconic moment.
It was very like 2 truths and 1 lie. Like, what would at that same show, I think Uma Thurman was there, Paul Rudd was there. Cool. So yeah, very my like biggest celebrity interaction.
We're going to ask you one more question.
Of course.
So if you had to give advice to Long Islanders, young entrepreneurs, what would that advice be?
Ooh. So I would say prioritize resilience in just life in general. I think in content creation and in life in general, with being young and having like peaks and valleys in your career and your content creation journey, maintaining an element of resilience and persistence is something that's really, really changed like my perspective on something. And there are videos that like quote unquote flop, and it's disheartening. It's like, oh my god, I put so much effort into going out to a place, filming, editing, and since I do everything myself, like it takes a toll on your psyche after you filmed and wrote out a script, and kind of you spent money on an item or a small business, and things didn't turn out the way that it did. The algorithm will take you by surprise in ways that you can't expect it. And I feel like not being in control of that and not knowing when something can positively impact you is like an allegory for life as a whole. Like the English major is coming out. But prioritize resilience and make good genuine connections with people for the sake of connecting with people. I know in business and content creation, unfortunately, some relationships are only forged because of how profitable or lucrative they can be. But for me, I've always wanted to guide myself with like a genuinity that came from connecting with someone for the sake of connecting with someone. And the last thing I would say is just like go out of your comfort zone. Like there's a lot of things and places that perhaps you don't have like experience with, or that's not something that's in your like familiarity. If it's a person from a different culture or religion or ethnic background, or even like a ride at a carnival that you're like, I would never do that. You know, it could be something that could intrigue you to new dimensions in your life, and I think it's worth definitely taking that risk.